We are just a short bike ride away to Cerro Cider.
Yep, we're gonna go meet with Jonathan and Eric and sample some truly world-class ciders. Yes. What is it the Shakespeare said? Oh, parting is such sweet sorrow.
I'm Allison Snell.
And I'm Colton Neidhart.
And we love craft beer. This is Good Life, Great Beer.
Colt, I'm thirsty.
Oh, should we
I mean, yes. It's like chips.
You ready?
Yes.
Hang on. All right, should we get a drink?
I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. That was fun while it lasted.
Right.
Hi there. Allison, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Allison.
Cool.
I'm Jonathan.
Hi,
Nice
Cole.
to meet you,
Nice
Jonathan.
to meet you too. Hi, Cole. I'm Jonathan.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you too.
Can we get you guys something to drink?
Absolutely. We're so excited to be here.
Great.
Hello.
Hey.
I have to say, I am very excited because I heard you are the only cider-specific brewery in Nebraska.
Oh, is that true?
That's all we do. Yeah. There are several places that make other products, but all we do is specialize in cider. We are all about the apple.
Fantastic. So where do the apples come from? How do you find these apples?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we really enjoy doing, actually. Eric and I just met with some folks from Nebraska City yesterday. So we like to source some products from local juice if we possibly can. But we also like to bring the West Coast to the Midwest. So we get a lot of juice from Oregon, Washington, but a good deal comes from the Midwest. We also have our own orchard, so we grow just over 3 acres of apple trees just 3 miles away from here. So that's still in its infancy. It won't produce apples until next year, but we're excited that we'll have super local juice because it's just 3 miles away.
That's awesome.
So why cider? In like a craft brewery world where it's beer, what made you choose to go the cider route?
Well, I'm one of 4 owners, and one of our owners is celiac, so he discovered that he couldn't drink beer at all, but really liked drinking beer.
Such a bummer.
I know, right? Kind of tragic. And cider is nice in that it kind of straddles 2 worlds, right? It straddles wine and beer, and is its own kind of entity. And we like, Eric and I especially like to think of ourselves kind of as pirates in that regard. We kind of do things our own way, and cider is nice in that it allows us a lot of breadth of things that we do. Like this cider in particular is our Pear Seca, which is aged in Chardonnay oak barrels, so it's much more wine-like. Whereas this is the Joy Harvest from Nebraska City. It's more of a farm-style fresh cider that we just recently made. And so, we have a broad spectrum of stuff, and cider allows that, kind of like beer and wine. There's a breadth of, Chardonnay to Cabernet versus an IPA to an Oktoberfest, and within cider itself, there's a broad spectrum of things you can do. In particular, you look at the spectrum of color in your flight. Mm-hmm. We also infuse a lot of fruit in some of our ciders, and you have one that has cherry in it, so we're able to add that palm fruit and really bring forward a totally different flavor profile. Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things about cider over another beverage was I was living in the Northwest when craft brewing was just sort of emerging, and I really enjoyed watching how beer makers were taking traditional styles of beer, and as Americans we don't have any rules put on what it is that we do, so we're able to. I was watching these guys or these people make beer and then sort of twisting them into an American style that they've claimed. There are New England styles. There's West Coast styles. There's all of these regional styles of beer that the United States has been able to identify with, and cider in the United States is sort of in its infancy that way as well. So we're able to borrow traditional aspects of cider making, but make them into something that's completely our own as well.
That's fantastic. So just zooming back out to the name, where does the Saro and Saro cider come from?
Yeah, so we love to travel, and there's an older aircraft company that was the combination of two companies in England called Saunders and Rowe, called Saro, and they made some airplanes, some of them pretty funky. They were land, sea, and air kind of aircraft, and we like the idea of traveling. And a lot of ciders come from lots of different parts of the world. Apples originate from Kazakhstan. There's a lot of cider in the UK, a lot in France, and Spain. And all of those countries have their own twist, kind of like Eric was saying, we're taking all of those and we're twisting them in an American style, but they all have origins in different countries. And we really wanted to bring that to Nebraska and bring that locally, where you don't have to travel to Spain or to England or to France. We can bring some of those styles to home. And
That's exactly why I love craft beer and cider, because for instance, Valencia, I've had this before, and it reminds me so much of driving through the Valencia region of Spain up towards Catalonia and driving through those orange groves.
How beautiful.
And you can be in Nebraska and have that memory, or if you haven't even been there, you can taste that and feel like you're there. And I think that's the beauty of any craft brew.
We'd love to introduce you to James and Brittany. They make some amazing cider cocktails, unbelievable. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing right now.
Fantastic.
All right,
Cool.
shall we?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Let's do it. I want to pause on the brewery action for a quick second to talk about our partner who made season 1 of Good Life Great Beer possible. Now, as you're out visiting breweries and retail locations across the state, you may notice this little sign. Now, this sign lets you know that this business is a Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild member. Now, the Guild is a professional organization that promotes and protects the craft brewing industry in Nebraska. Your support of the Guild helps small businesses across our state. It helps create positive economic and social impact in our communities, and it creates jobs. Now, you can learn more about the Guild, locate Nebraska breweries, or become a Nebraska Beer Alliance member by visiting them online at nebraska.beer. Well, I think we want to learn a little bit more about the Santa Maria.
Perfect. So it takes kind of like a play on like a dark and stormy. So dark and stormy is traditionally going to be like rum and like ginger beer. So we have our ginger cider, it's the Shipwreck Ginger, and kind of did a little play on that with it. So it's going to be a little bit of our aged rum over here. So it's kind of fun because we aged it in Cruzian barrels, and so we actually are using Cruzian rum, so which is kind of fun.
Did you come up with this recipe
I
yourself?
actually did. It was kind of fun. It was super kind of crappy weather last week, so I was like, well, let's do this. So an ounce and a half of rum. Then we made some ginger simple syrup here as well.
And when you're doing a recipe like this, are you starting with the cider, or are you ending with the cider?
I'm ending with the cider. So the cider is kind of more of like the mixture for it. So it's like if you know Jack and Coke, like the cider is actually going to be the mixture of it. And then a little bit of pear puree for a little twist on it.
As a mixologist, do you love to be able to use cider in with your pairings?
It's a little different from me. I worked in a craft cocktail bar, so I was never like, cider was never my go-to. When I first started here, it was like everything had to have cider in it, so it kind of changed a lot of the flavor profile of like what I would normally do. But I mean, I'm learning. It's kind of fun.
Are you finding it super interesting?
It is. It changes everything. So the cider's the cider's usually carbonated, so it kind of throw some drinks off, so you kind of got to think about flavor profiles that high.
A little candied ginger to garnish.
Candy
Love it.
ginger, and then just a peel of lemon over here.
So can we go over what is all in this right now?
We have aged rum from Cruzian. We have ginger simple syrup that I made, and then we just got some peach puree, and then our Shipwreck ginger cider. So.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
All right. Don't have to ask me twice. That's fantastic. That is super refreshing.
Yeah, it's just another fun little play on a kind of a classic cocktail. So.
Love it.
All right, guys.
Thank you.